But US President Donald Trump's senior advisor and also his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, in an exclusive interview that he's given to a Palestinian newspaper by name Al-Quds, has stated that he's actually ready and willing to work with the Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas for a possible peace plan as has been envisioned by the White House. Now, in fact, Washington for some time has been harping on the fact that they have a peace plan for the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, but the Palestinian president Mahmoud Abbas has refused to engage with them ever since Donald Trump's controversial announcement to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and also the shifting of the US embassy from Tel Aviv to Israel. Now, the Palestinians have denounced the United States by stating that with this act, the United States has lost the moral grounds to be a non-partisan negotiator between the two sides. Now, the White House has also confirmed that Jared Kushner and Donald Trump's Middle East envoy have met with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem over the issue. Now, in his interview to the Palestinian newspaper Al-Quds, Jared Kushner has said, and I quote, "They want to see a deal that respects the dignity of the Palestinians and puts an actual solution to the issues that have been discussed for decades. They all insist that the Al-Aqsa Mosque should continue to be open to all Muslims who wish to pray there." All right, now this of course is a big interview that Jared Kushner has given to the Al-Quds newspaper. Interestingly, it is a Palestinian newspaper to which he has given the interview. And to discuss more on this, we are joined in by our Middle East Bureau Chief, Daniel Pagani. Daniel, this is an interesting interview that's been given by Jared Kushner. Does it surprise you at all that Jared Kushner is in fact trying to see if the Palestinians would engage with Donald Trump for a potential peace plan for the Middle East?
No, it does not surprise me because this was the least he could do. Remember that as of now, Jared Kushner, as well as the envoy for the Middle East, Mr. Greenblatt, of course, the United States envoy for the Middle East, have only been speaking with the Israeli counterpart. This is not only on the U.S. shoulder, it is also because Mahmoud Abbas, the president of Palestine, decided to stop communicating formally with the United States of America after they supported the decision of Mr. Donald Trump to shift the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. It's the holy contested city. So no, it does not surprise me. Mr. Kushner is preparing the ground for the very much awaited Middle East plan, which we have all been waiting for quite a long as of now. There is a lot of skepticism on Mr. Kushner being actually capable of presenting a plan which will satisfy both the Israelis and the Palestinians. Remember that he pitches in one of perhaps the longest standing contradiction and conflict in the entire Middle East.
And also considering the fact as to, the announcement of shifting their embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, so the Palestinians have now denounced the United States as not being a fair arbiter in this conflict. Will the Palestinians play ball with Donald Trump?
Difficult to say, but it's also difficult to criticize the Palestinians. Jerusalem was a very hot topic, and normally whatever concerned Jerusalem in terms of defining it as a capital city of either one or the other side would pass through the international community. The United Nations, for instance, the unilateral move of the United States brought the Palestinians to decide that they were not a neutral actor, and it's again very hard to criticize this decision. Nevertheless, dialogue is made between two parties, and you don't talk with your friends, you talk with your enemies when you have to find a solution. So President Mahmoud Abbas will need at least to listen to the Middle East plan that has been put together by Jared Kushner. This doesn't mean that he will have to abide by all the requests or to accept, again, the United States as a possible mediator. There are other countries in the world who can pitch in and try to find a solution.
And also, Daniel, considering the fact that it is to a Palestinian newspaper that Jared Kushner has in fact given this interview, is there any symbolism that's attached to it?
Maybe there is an attempt to sound closer to the Palestinian people than he actually is. Remember that Jared Kushner and his wife Ivanka Trump were present at the inauguration of the new embassy in Jerusalem. Ivanka Trump, with her own words, inaugurated the embassy saying, "Welcome to Jerusalem, the capital city of Israel." These are very heavy words when it comes to Palestine and Israel. Jared Kushner was sitting there. He was smiling throughout the moment. He gave a speech in which he praised Israel, and he praised the history of Israel, the defense, the industry, the startup environment of Israel. So we are in presence of a person who is definitely sitting on the Israeli side.
Right.
So giving at least one interview to one Palestinian newspaper would at least help him to try to make the Palestinian feel that they will eventually take care of their only request, which is either a two-state solution or at least East Jerusalem or Jerusalem as their capital city.
And also considering the fact, the details of this deal that Trump has been talking about for some time now, the details of the deal are not known in the public domain, but there cannot be a deal without discussing the issue of Jerusalem. There cannot be a deal without discussing the borders between Israel and Palestine. And there also definitely cannot be a deal unless the settlements which Israel is in fact making on what is generally considered as Palestinian territory, that is demarcated, and also about the right of return for the refugees. These are all extremely contentious issues that have dragged on for several decades now. Can Trump realistically find a solution for this?
I don't think so. I don't think so because the actions of the Trump administration have long spoken for themselves. There has been no very clear-cut request to the Israeli government to stop funding and increasing the number and the dimension of the settlements, which is perhaps the most contentious issues. The United States of America under Trump decided to stop their tradition of weavering the possibility of postponing the shift of the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And also the United States of America at the United Nations walked out of the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights, citing pro-Israel bias, as well as from the UNESCO citing pro-Israel bias. So given all these actions, all these subsequent actions, it is very, very hard to think that the Trump administration can put together a plan which will be satisfying for the Palestinians.
Absolutely, indeed. And just before I let you go, Daniele, the fact of the matter is Donald Trump is a very unconventional negotiator. We saw what happened in the case of North Korea. Not many people expected that a US president, a sitting US president, would in fact meet with a North Korean leader. Can something similar happen in the case of Israel and Palestine as well?
Why not? We don't have any sign of that happening, whereas we did have many signs of a possible meeting between Trump and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un happening. It was months before that he said that he was anyway open to a meeting. So we were expecting that. There is nothing like that on the table as of now when it comes to Palestine. But I wouldn't rule out the possibility of Mr. Trump taking it personally in his hands and maybe traveling to Ramallah to meet Mahmoud Abbas and try to see if there are negotiations. You're right, President Donald Trump is a very unconventional president, and sometimes he puts on the table things that were not on the table before, as, for instance, stopping the exercise, the military drills with South Korea in return of more open mentality from North Korea. I wouldn't rule this out, but we have no signs as of now of that possibly happening in the short period.